The wind howled across the desolate Montana plains, carrying with it a piercing scream that shattered the stillness of the night. "Please, help me," she cried, her voice raw with terror, echoing off the jagged cliffs that loomed over the isolated ranch. The stars above seemed to flicker in response, as if bearing witness to a truth too heavy for the earth to hold. In the heart of the rugged frontier, where secrets were buried beneath layers of dust and time, a young woman named Clara stumbled through the darkness, her bare feet bleeding against the rocky terrain. Her tattered dress clung to her trembling frame, and her eyes, wide with fear, searched desperately for salvation. Behind her, the faint glow of the ranch house flickered like a predator's gaze, and the truth she carried threatened to unravel a community bound by silence. This was no ordinary night, and Clara was no ordinary fugitive. She was a spark in a powder keg, and the truth she bore would either set her free or consume her entirely. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of standing up for what's right, please hit that like button, leave a comment with your thoughts, share this story with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Gentle Hearts for more stories that touch the soul. Your support keeps these stories alive. Clara had arrived at the Blackthorn Ranch 6 months earlier, a weary traveler with nowhere else to go. At 22, she carried the weight of a life marked by loss, her parents gone in a fire, her dreams of a better future buried with them. The ranch, owned by the enigmatic and iron-fisted Amos Blackthorn, was her last hope. He'd offered her a job as a housemaid, promising shelter and wages in exchange for her labor. The other workers, a tight-knit group of ranch hands and maids, welcomed her cautiously, their eyes shadowed with unspoken warnings. At first, Clara thought it was the isolation of the ranch that made them guarded, the endless fields, the distant mountains, the way the wind seemed to whisper secrets. But as the weeks passed, she began to notice things that didn't add up: locked doors in the main house, hushed conversations that stopped when she entered a room, and the way the other women flinched when Amos's shadow crossed their path. Clara's curiosity grew, but so did her fear. She'd seen Amos's temper flare, his voice like a whip cracking through the air, and she'd heard the rumors, whispers of workers who'd vanished without a trace, their names erased as if they'd never existed. The turning point came on a frigid autumn evening, when Clara overheard a conversation she wasn't meant to hear. Hidden behind a stack of hay bales in the barn, she listened as Amos spoke to a man in a tailored suit, his voice low and menacing. "The shipments must continue," Amos growled, his words dripping with greed. "No one asks questions out here, and I'll make sure it stays that way." The man nodded, slipping a thick envelope into Amos's hand. Clara's heart pounded as she pieced together the truth: the ranch wasn't just a cattle operation. It was a front for something far darker, something that exploited the vulnerable, the desperate, the forgotten. She thought of Maria, a young maid who'd disappeared weeks earlier, her laughter silenced, her belongings burned in the fire pit behind the house. Clara's stomach churned as she realized Maria hadn't run away, as Amos claimed. The truth clawed at her chest, demanding to be spoken, but speaking it meant risking everything. Clara's struggle was not just with the truth but with her own fear. She was alone, penniless, and far from anyone who could help. The nearest town was 30 miles away, a treacherous journey across unforgiving terrain. Every night, she lay awake in the cramped bunkhouse, her mind racing with questions. Should she stay silent and survive, or risk her life to expose Amos? The other workers, bound by fear or complicity, offered no solace. Some, like old Tom the stable hand, seemed to carry their own guilt, their eyes haunted by what they'd seen but never dared to challenge. Clara's only ally was her own conscience, a flickering light in the darkness of her doubt. She began to gather evidence in secret, stealing glances at ledgers left open on Amos's desk, memorizing the faces of the men who came under cover of night. Each step forward felt like a step toward a cliff's edge, but Clara couldn't turn back. The memory of Maria's smile, the thought of others who might suffer the same fate, pushed her forward. The night Clara fled, everything changed. She'd been caught slipping a stolen document into her pocket, a ledger page detailing payments for unlisted cargo. Amos's rage was swift and brutal. He cornered her in the kitchen, his massive frame blocking the door, his eyes burning with fury. "You think you can ruin me?" he snarled, his hand raised to strike. Clara bolted, her heart hammering as she ran into the night, the ranch's dogs barking in pursuit. The scream that tore from her throat, "Please, help me," was both a plea and a promise. She would not let the truth die with her. Stumbling through the darkness, she found refuge in a small cave, her body shaking from cold and fear. Dawn brought a sliver of hope, A passing rancher, a grizzled man named Eli, heard her cries. Unlike the others, Eli wasn't under Amos's thumb. He'd long suspected the truth about Blackthorn Ranch but lacked proof. Clara's courage, her trembling hands clutching the stolen ledger page, gave him what he needed. Together, Clara and Eli exposed Amos's operation to the authorities. The truth unraveled like a storm breaking over the plains. Blackthorn Ranch was a hub for human trafficking, preying on desperate souls lured by promises of work. The community, once silent, erupted in outrage and grief. Families who'd lost loved ones came forward, their stories weaving a tapestry of pain and resilience. Clara, though scarred by her ordeal, found strength in the faces of those she'd helped save. The ranch was shut down, its fields left to grow wild, a testament to the truth's power to uproot even the deepest corruption. Clara stood on the edge of those fields one last time, the wind carrying away the ghosts of her fear. She wasn't just a survivor, she was a beacon, proof that one voice, however small, could shatter the silence. If this story of courage and redemption touched your heart, please hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to know that truth can triumph. Subscribe to Gentle Hearts and join us in celebrating stories that remind us of the strength within us all. Before you go, please leave a comment below. Tell us what moved you most about Clara's journey or share a story of courage from your own life. Your words inspire us to keep telling these stories.